So, what was your first introduction to Scooby-Doo? The first of any mention of Scooby-Doo came out in 1969 on Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? What's interesting about Scooby-Doo is that it's still very much around today and as popular as it was back then. And to me, it's still interesting because I love Scooby-Doo and the shows and they put out. It's always been fun to watch. Even though not much has changed in the series, the formula is still the same. So, why has Scooby-Doo lasted so long? I think I figured out the answer to that question. Now, while it's not as consistent as The Simpsons or Family Guy, there's still always consistently new episodes being put out. What I think happened with Scooby-Doo is that because it hasn't been so prevalent and around for every single decade or year, it'll always grow a new fan base. And they do change just enough of the show to keep people reinvested in what happens. Of course, with the majority of the show, the main character is always going to be Shaggy and Scooby. Well, except for one show. We'll get to that in 1 second. Throughout Scooby's existence, there's been multiple shows, TV, movies, specials, live-action series, reboots. It makes you wonder what draws people back to the show. And there is a consistency in what the show is and what it's set out to do compared to, changing the overall dynamic of the characters and how they are and how they act. But it does take liberties to change it in certain ways and bring in new scenarios the characters can face, or in some ways even change up the story to where how in Mystery Incorporated there is, while still a comedy, a drama elements to it and an overall overarching mystery. And with the live action Scooby-Doo series, Like 'em or Hate 'em, there is an actual threat given to the characters that could affect them. And even there's a celebrity status to the Mystery Inc. in those movies that they tackle with as well. Or in the 90s when they had all the VHS tapes like Scooby-Doo and Zombie Island, I would even argue it's more of a darker turn because it faces actual zombies. It's like they have the stories to tell where it could take a more darker turn and be more dramatic. Because Scooby-Doo is established as a kids program, they don't want to drift too much away from that. They want to keep it still grounded in that world. And we've kind of seen it tackled out of the way, but not too far off. Scooby-Doo tends to come and go every so often. It's given time to take it away to breathe and figure out what they can do next or change, and sometimes we get the exact same thing, and other times it's a little different. It's more or less because we don't have so much of it all the time, it's always a pleasure to see a new Scooby-Doo product come out. You can just essentially look at the progress of all the shows and see how each one has taken different avenues of entertaining the stories. The Be Cool Scooby-Doo is nothing like the Mystery Incorporated show, and this came out a year later. And the Mystery Incorporated show is nothing like Scooby and Shaggy Get a Clue. But I think that's why it also takes a more drastic turn in the TV show they made, where it is taking a darker adult theme kind of story. I remember I was watching Your Movie Sucks review of the trailer, and he made a good point.
There's nothing about this show that justifies them using the same characters. I don't give a what race or gender identity any of these characters are. I don't see anything that relates this to Scooby-Doo in any way whatsoever. You made a show and you just used other characters that previously existed, and that's it. Literally, release this exact same trailer. It has nothing to do with Scooby-Doo. They're new characters. No one would even bother watching it.
Nothing really needs to be Scooby-Doo related. And it tried to do a drastic change, 110%, to make a new experience, and it can't tell what the audience they're trying to hit is. They're trying to relate to Scooby-Doo fans while kind of also mocking them at the same time.
If there is one thing the internet agrees on, it's that you should never change anything ever. Yes, that's a classic, and that's my point. Why change anything when the classics all still work, right?
I think there was a way this could have been a great show, taking a different take on the series. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think it wasn't done that well. I mean, who knows? Again, it's season 2 now, so maybe better. Who knows? The overarching plot of what the show is has not really changed, but the scenarios given to them are different enough to draw people back in. It's kind of like why you don't see much of the Flintstones anymore, or the Jetsons. While Scooby-Doo wasn't that much different from here is the monster, here is them solving the mystery, here's the person behind the mask. Some taken that and made it so, okay, well, what if now we have this, but they meet celebrity guests who are helping them solve the mysteries? Okay, well, how about this? We have the exact same plot, but for kids in a pup named Scooby-Doo. Or if we have the exact same plot, but bring in actual monsters, which became a whole topic with the Shaggy and Scooby and Scrappy show. Then you have the live-action Scooby-Doo series. And at the same time, we are getting a new Scooby-Doo show, which is essentially a reboot of What's New Scooby-Doo. So I think when describing this, even my introduction to Scooby-Doo was the Boomerang reruns with Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, the live-action Scooby-Doo, the home videos of Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, or even the other ones with Shaggy and Scrappy and Scooby, or even the reruns of A Pup Named Scooby-Doo. You get so many interpretations of these characters that it's not far-fetched to put them in different scenarios where the characters can be different, and they can be a little more complex, and they can have more background. As long as you are delivering what the show has always been, somebody who watched Scooby-Doo in 1969 can enjoy the show as someone who watched it in 1999 or 2009. It's how it adapts and introduces the characters in a way where you're not just watching a rerun, or you're getting different interpretations of the same show, and it keeps drawing you in to want to watch more. Anyway, that's all I have for this video. Just a brief discussion about Scooby-Doo and how I feel it lasted this long. If you agree, let me know what you thought about the video. If you disagree, leave a comment, and, I don't know, sorry. And yeah, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and share. Have a good day.